Oh, I feel like I'm a little kid again. Right, you have this amount of input. I need 1,000 cc. Oh, that's cute. My RS660 is doing its 1,000 service, 1,000 kilometer. And in the meantime, this is the no it's not, it's the Tuono 660. See, I almost fooled you. It's the demo bike for LillebrorMC. I am going to be riding this while my bike is getting serviced. I guess this is a kind of comparison to the RS660. I have just been riding 1,000 kilometers on it. So it's basically the same bike. It's got the aluminium frame right here. And the engine is basically the same, except I think it's got 5 horsepower less. It's got these rubber pegs. Then the RS660 does not have that. Of course, you got the handlebars, which are different. These are now an actual bar and not quote unquote clip-ons like it is on the RS660. But it does not have the quick shifter that the RS comes with as a standard. I do believe you could get this as an option, but it is not on this model. I want to engine map, engine brake. I want less. Oh, that's interesting. So on the Tuono, I don't know if you can see that. Hold on. On the Tuono, you cannot turn off the anti-wheelie control. Oops, just went out of the menu there. It's got a little bit of sound to it. Let's get out of here. I will start in dynamic mode. So, like, immediately, I definitely feel that this bike is a little bit more upright than the RS. Now, you're sitting quite comfortably on this bike from the get-go. It's not as straight up of a seating position as I had on the MT-09, but it is a vast improvement over the RS, where in the RS you'll kind of leaned over the tank at all times, but on this you could just cruise. And I'll be honest, on the RS I'm getting a little bit tired in my back already because I'm not used to that riding position, but for the moment being, this feels very comfortable and very familiar coming from an MT-09. Now, one thing I do feel from the get-go compared to the RS as well is that the shifter, the gear lever, is a lot more tactile. It's got that defined click to it because I've got the quick shifter on the RS. So I like the gear shifter on this more, but I would trade the mushiness of a gear shifter for having a quick shift and auto blipping down, I guess. So the thing about this motorcycle is that it is super freaking nimble. I think the forks are at a little bit of a different angle than the RS, but don't quote me on that. But it feels extremely light. Now, the actual throttle on this motorcycle and the RS is very twitchy. You've got like 3 different modes, the engine map as they call it. So right now I'm in mode 2. This is the mode that I've come to like. You could, with the ease of this button right here, individual, commute, dynamic. So in the individual mode you can customize all of your settings like we did in the beginning of this video. And right now, trying to keep the engine going, it is very difficult because the throttle is so twitchy. This bike doesn't really like just staying at a constant speed. Like if I were to be in like 3rd or 30, going 30 now, trying to keep it there, it's kind of jerking back and forth. I think it has something to do with the fuel cutting, like a fuel cut when you try to go off the throttle, which I've also kind of understood to be kind of abrupt. Oh, look, we've got a motorcycle. Let's say hi. Oh, he's blinking. Oh, I probably meant to do that. Hey, the seat on this bike and the RS, they're the same, is stupid comfortable. I've ridden like 40 miles, 400 kilometers on one of these seats at the time, and only at the end of those 40 miles did I get a little bit tired. Like, my back was aching a lot more. So Aprilia has done something very special with these seats, because they're just, honestly, it's mind-blowing how comfortable it is. Now, these bikes also have the assisted slipper clutch and stuff like that. I think it's a slipper assist clutch. Am I saying that correct? I don't know. Wow, it just flicks over, dude. Yeah, this is my kind of bike. I think we can go right here, and that is cool. Yeah, look at this. Whoa. Wowie. Look at that road. Would you just look at it? Oh. 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 So let's talk a little bit about this before we go down there. So the control, high beam, back there, and then cruise control, and then blinker, and then horn. How does the horn sound? Oh, that's cute. Now this whole thing, this whole construction right here, it's so big. Like, and in addition to that, the clutch handle, it's so far out that if I were to blink and clutch at the same time, I don't know if you guys do that, but sometimes I wish I could. Like, if I'm playing with the clutch right here and I'm gonna blink there, I don't have any. It's difficult because this is so big. On the other side, it is not. You have your lights. You can change your light mode, DRLs, or your actual lights, I guess. And then you got your mode button right down there. Yeah, I love this engine, dude. It's like ringy. It's got some torque to it. Woo! See right there, I try to shift, but I don't have the quick shifter because I'm so used to it. Yo, this engine, dude, it's so much fun. It's like the steering is kind of precise, and you have so much control over it because of the bars. Like, I almost overturn every turn. You have this amount of input. Like on the RS you've got this, but on the RS as well you can tuck really far in, as you can on this bike as well, but it's not like the same feeling of a sports bike. It's like the hooligan version of the RS, where the RS is like speed, and this is like, I want speed, but I also want to be able to go on tours and stuff like that. So, I mean, you do have this little windscreen right here. It's not that big. I'll test it on the highway after, in a bit. So, like, this exhaust right here, like, it looks so good, I don't even want to change it. And on the other side as well. It's the same for the RS, but look at that. The only thing that I've experienced is that it gets super dirty when you lube the chain and it gets thrown all around here, but it's easy to clean, so it's not the worst. Let's listen to her. Now, let's talk a little bit about the electronics that you get on this bike. You get, as I said, you could get the optional quick shifter, you get anti-wheelie control, you get traction control, which is like 5 levels or something like that. And you get ABS, you get cruise control. It's quite amazing how much electronics are packed into these relatively inexpensive bikes. Like, they're not that expensive, but I guess if you want to compare them to like the MT-07 or the MT anything, MT-07 SV650, stuff like that, this will cost you a little bit more, I guess. Yeah, that's the money shot. So I don't know if you've seen these, but these are amazing, these lights right here. I didn't like them at first, I do now. High beam here. So you turn these on and you see them and they're like, wow, very nice. And then you turn on the blinker and this whole side gets kind of dimmed compared to this one, which isn't blinking. And then you've got an integrated blinker, like turn signals. How cool is that? That is something I would have to do aftermarket on just about any other bike that I know of. So good on Aprilia. Good on them. Hello there. Oh, it is tall. I'm in a downhill. Okay. Whew. You know, this is almost more fun than my RS, to be honest, because it's just straight up hooliganism. It does not make sense to me that the Tuono is the bike that you cannot turn off the wheelie control on. This is the hooligan, but I mean, maybe you've got two different modes. So I'm not sure how I get... Yes, I am. Okay, you know what? We'll test that. Right, let's see if my theory is right. So, in theory, what I think is that... let me just double check that I cannot turn off anti-wheelie control is not there. Okay. So let me go into the bike setting, set it in race mode, and then we'll go out. This is race mode. You can see the dash is kind of different. Right now we're in challenge, so anti-wheelie control is still on. Can we customize one of these? You cannot turn wheelie control off on this bike. Or wait, maybe. Hold on. There we go, you can turn anti-wheelie off if you turn off the traction control. That makes sense. You can just not adjust them individually, I guess, off each other, which is something you can do on the RS. You can turn wheelie control off, but you cannot, but you don't have to turn off traction control. Oh, I feel like I'm a little kid again. Maybe buying the RS was wrong. Maybe it was just wrong of me. This bike is... Oh, 50. Okay. Hello. Maybe I was wrong buying the RS, but I wanted the RS because it was a sports bike. So I guess this is not a sports bike. Well, it can be. It's just a naked version of a sports bike, but, you know. Okay. Wheelie control kicks in, so that works. Why am I having so much fun on this? It's a very, very fun bike, like super nimble as well. And for example, compared to like an MT-07, the suspension on this bike to me feels a lot firmer and a lot more sporty than the MT-07. Now that being said, you probably should get a more sporty suspension, seeing the price on this, but I just thought I'd put that out there. Where the frick are we? Like, I've seen this town before, I just don't have the name. Right, Vestby. You know what, that... I want to say that makes sense, but that would be a lie. I don't know if you can tell by now, but I'm having an absolute blast on this motorcycle. Oh! This bike pulls! I mean, I've just ridden 1,000 kilometers on this very engine. Like, and this has 5 horsepower less or so, but come on. But I've ridden 1,000 kilometers on this with the RS, and it's still fun. Like, I'm probably gonna shoot myself in the foot here, but I don't see myself or you or whatever needing more power. Like for the road, sure, if you're going on like a lot of track days and you feel like I need 1,000 cc, then go ahead. I mean, I'm not shaming or like telling you that 1,000 cc is too much for you. You should not go for it. If you want it, take it. But for me, this freaking little bike right here, it's 100 horsepower or 95 if you're on the Tuono. But it's just if you need to brake, this front brake, this Brembo brake, well, it got a lot of hate when it got out because people were like, oh, you need like a bigger and better brake to brake this bike because if not it's gonna break or something. If
I'm gonna be honest, you absolutely do not need a better brake. Look at this, like we're going 80. And if I were to like squeeze, look at that. And in addition to that, you see the hazard lights came on. So when you do an emergency braking, you have the option to turn this off as well. There is a built-in system that allows you to, or the emergency brakers, it will warn you like, what is happening? I'm braking in front of you, you should pay attention and not rear end me. So I thought we're gonna take this bike on the highway now, just to see where the wind is and stuff like that. And if you can actually tuck, like we'll make our own like jerry-rigged wind tunnel on the highway. Now, wind-wise, I feel a lot of wind on my arms right here. A little bit more on the RS, I do believe. And like wind-wise, helmet-wise, it's somewhere where the GoPro is like on my chin. If you really want to, I guess you could just tuck down under here. And there's actually quite a little bit of wind here if you do that. But on the RS, you do not have that. If I tuck fully on my RS, the wind just stops completely. I don't even hear it, but I only hear the engine. I did not only hear the engine this time. Gotta say, I love the feeling of this shifter more than the quick shifter, but like even if you use it manually, it just has that kind of tactile click and more firmness to it, I guess.
I don't like it. Apparently this has become the video where me, Drakenhoff, takes you on a photo journey. Alright, so this little first test ride is coming to an end. I really like it. It's really something special in my eyes. I still prefer the RS over this because I don't really understand why you would have half a fairing. It's just this vast open space here could have been better without this and this, I guess. That's just my opinion. If I want fairings on a bike, I want all of them. But if you're looking to get one of these, or if you're even just like mildly considering it, I'd suggest hit up your local dealer or LillebrorMC if you're in the Oslo area, Oslo, like Norway area. I mean, it's just fun, dude. The most thing about this bike for me is the engine. It's not super torquey like the MT-09 engine was, but it's somewhere in between where it's kind of racy. Yes, are we going places? It's kind of in the middle where it's kind of racy. You have to bring it a little bit up in the RPM to get the power, but it's not super intrusive. It's a very easy motorcycle to ride if you don't think about the constant throttle on-off situation that I explained earlier. Also, compared to the RS, it's very similar. It's just a riding position thing. To be honest, I don't feel the 5 horsepower is less in this bike. You sit extremely comfortable on this. The seat is stupid comfortable, just like the RS, and you sit very much underneath the tank and you can just squeeze the tank and you won't go anywhere, which is very, very nice. Something I cannot say about my previously owned MT-09. I guess that's it. Hopefully my flappering mouth has given you some kind of information about this bike and not made it worse, made it more difficult for you to understand what kind of bike this is. So without me speaking on forever, trying to close this video, thank you guys so much for watching this first test ride video of the Aprilia Tuono 660. Thank you so much to LillebrorMC for providing me with this test ride. And as always, I will catch you in the next video. Peace. I could just sit here and cruise. I was gonna say I can text, but I don't do that. That's bad.